That all of these struggles are connected, whether they're domestic or international, whether we're talking about gun violence at home or violence abroad, police violence at home or militarism abroad. These are all connected issues, and we really need to continue to work together to end violence here at home and abroad. And so Yemen happens to be the world's worst humanitarian crisis, and we're involved in that militarily, and we need to really work to end support for that. I'm Shireen Al-Adeimi, and I am an assistant professor of language and literacy at Michigan State University, and I've also been working to end the war in my country of birth, Yemen, since 2015. I think what's changed is that finally we had this announcement by President Biden that he was going to end offensive operations in Yemen, which is a major step. He announced that he would end intelligence sharing with the Saudi-led military. He did undo some designations that the Trump administration had done about, the Houthis, and reverse the terror designation, which would have honestly starved 70% or 80% of the Yemeni population. And so a lot has happened. Of course, there's a lot more to be done, but those are the kind of changes that we've began to see. I was born in Yemen. It's a very personal fight for me, but I've met people like people at FCNL, for example, or Action Corps, or other groups, other progressive groups that have worked really, really hard alongside us across the years. I work with organizations like the Yemeni Alliance Committee out of the Beir area, or the Yemeni Liberation Movement, who currently their members are on a hunger strike in DC to protest Biden's support for the blockade that's killing our family members in Yemen. And so I just want to, lift up all of these organizations and those wonderful people that have worked so hard to end the war in Yemen and US support for the war in Yemen. Many of whom have never set foot in Yemen. They don't know they don't have the kind of connection that I have in Yemen. So I'm eternally grateful to those folks and to anybody else wanting to join this movement and to work toward peace. There has been a lot of organizing that got us into this place. I've had the privilege of working with grassroots organizations, building connections with people who have been working on issues of anti-war since, the Vietnam War, and people who have more recently joined the movement. But I think it was a response to grassroots organizations, a response to activists that led President Biden to make this announcement. The pressure that the Biden administration felt is because of the work of organizers on the ground. For example, on January 25th, there was an international coalition that came together to call for the end of Western support to the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen. Well, the war in Yemen has not ended yet. There are 30 million Yemeni people, among them my own family members, who are struggling to survive. They are struggling to find food and water and medicine. We are going to continue fighting until the war in Yemen is over, until the US ends all support for the Saudi-led coalition, until it ends all weapon sales to the Saudi-led coalition, until the Biden administration ends its support to the blockade that's been killing roughly a child every 75 seconds. And so it's definitely an uphill battle. We've gotten farther than we've ever gotten, but there's a lot more work to be done because the war continues to happen with US support. And so we're going to keep fighting until there is no more US support for the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen.